Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. I'm Julian Gower, and on my channel I go to historical sites to see what they can teach us about history. Today we are in Lexington, Missouri at the Battle of Lexington. Behind me is the Anderson House. We're going to get to check that out here hopefully in a couple of minutes. We're going to go to the battlefield. There's a lot of history down here: the Santa Fe Trail, Lewis and Clark, Pottawatomie Trail of Death. Plus their downtown is pretty spectacular. Their courthouse has a cannonball in it. So I'm gonna stop talking and we're gonna go check this stuff out. We are actually on the battlefield. This house was right in the middle of it, and it changed from Union to Confederacy, back to Union, and finally held by the Confederacy. Well, we're in I think this is the back of the house. I'm not sure. I just got here. I'm gonna go here and look at this, see what this is. Not entirely sure what that would have been. Maybe we'll find out on the tour. I'll have to ask. Supposedly there's a tour that's gonna happen. But okay, let's go this way. It's so peaceful and quiet. It's kind of windy today. Oh my goodness, you can see the Missouri River from here. Wow. Lexington, Missouri was incorporated in 1822. It's on the Santa Fe Trail, and it was a very prosperous river town. The Battle of Lexington, which is also known as the Battle of Hemp Bales, was fought from September 18th to the 20th, 1861. The Confederate Army was led by General Sterling Price, and the Union forces were led by Colonel James Mulligan. There's the Missouri River, and if you can see way down there, that white gravel, that's where we went to see the Missouri River. Or that's where we're gonna go, depending on where I put this in the video. So pretty. I love houses like this. So it's got a stone foundation, and I think this is Greek Revival. There was an extremely large tour group today, which made filming kind of tricky, but we're definitely going to see everything there is to see, starting with this 15-foot wide hallway. There are 4 rooms here on the first floor. These 2 are both parlors or sitting rooms, and this house was built in 1853 by Oliver Anderson, who was a hemp rope manufacturer, and this house showed how prosperous he was. Well, at least for a while. In 1857, he went bankrupt and had to auction off all of his belongings, including this house, to pay his debts. Fortunately, his son-in-law, Thomas Akers, purchased the home and allowed Anderson to remain. The 2 rooms on this side is a gentleman's smoking room and a dining room. Anderson was a Southern sympathizer who owned slaves, and he was arrested in July of 1861 for his refusal to sign an oath of allegiance to the Union. That's when the Union commandeered this house and used it as a hospital. At the start of the battle, over 100 sick or wounded Union soldiers occupied this structure, and they were under the care of a surgeon named Dr. Cooley. They would fly a white or a yellow flag on the top of the roof to indicate that there were wounded and sick occupants and that this was neutral territory. Price, however, saw that the house was a great strategic location, and he ordered the building taken, which they did fairly easily. Colonel Mulligan was incensed by what he considered a breach of etiquette of war. He ordered that the Federals retake the building. Union forces stormed the building, running out all but 4 men, 3 of which were executed at the base of the stairs. 25 Union men lost their lives, and this second floor is riddled with bullets.
Yeah, those are bullet holes.
Oh, those are bullet holes?
Oh, yeah.
Every room on the second floor has bullet holes, and you can see quite a big bullet hole there in the corner of the upstairs hallway. The layout up here on the second floor is much like the downstairs, except these are set up as bedrooms. All these rooms, even the ones downstairs, are 20 feet square with 15-foot high ceilings. And that is a view out towards the battleground. Up there was the Union forces, and we'll get up there next. There are a couple bullet holes in this room. There's one right up there in that corner, another one next to the door, and a whole bunch behind this ornate mirror. After the war, this house was purchased by Tilton Davis, who lived in and preserved the home for 50 years. The furnishings up here are all original pieces of the Davises' furniture. In 1958, the house and portions of the nearby battlefield were donated to the state park system, and they're now operated by the Missouri Department of Natural Resources as part of the Battle of Lexington State Historic Site. And this back room is set up as an operating room, and our guide pointed out a gruesome reminder of battlefield
It
medicine.
would be brought up here, and the amputation would occur, and these 3 holes that are drilled in the floor were used to drain the blood away from the surgeon's table. And that was drained down into the dining area where there were pots that caught the blood, so it would be dripping from there.
Our tour guide Paul said the family used to lock their house slaves up in this room every night because they were afraid that they were going to kill them in their sleep.
You see that door?
Yes.
There's another room behind it.
Uh-huh.
In that room, we believe is where the cooks were.
Okay.
If this door was closed and locked till 8 o'clock in the morning, who's going to fix breakfast? So when we go downstairs, you'll see the staircase. So the black cooks would go down the staircase at 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning and start breakfast.
Wow, look at that. Look at all those bullet holes and cannonball holes. What? That is crazy.
Let's go downstairs. You guys, you want to go on the porch?
Yes.
Not you. Yeah, you go. You guys want to go on the?
Oh, okay.
I can tell you the woods old. And don't go the other way.
Okay, bullet holes. It's probably really hard to tell with my wonderful video skills, but this porch is leaning and it looks like it's going to fall down. I'm not really sure how safe it is. They're just everywhere. I mean, look at them all. There's 2 right there. Okay. Wow. I'm afraid too many people out there think it's just gonna go correct. And I caught our guide telling us a ghost story.
So I'm up there and I'm just about ready to say famous lines like you see what you want to see and all this kind of stuff. So I'm just about ready to say that, but all of a sudden I hear voices. I can hear little voices way in the back. So I thought to myself, oh God, that's just what I need, is a ghost haunting right in the middle of my first episode. So I'm thinking, I said, this isn't real, this isn't real. So I walk over here and I realized I had to lock this door and somebody was just walking in and was talking. We send all the ghosts to the top floor.
What is upstairs?
It's 2 rooms on the right are, there's no fireplace in them. So we pretty much, it's convinced it was weekend bedrooms.
Okay, so just additional bedrooms and stuff.
Yeah, over there in the back, that's the summer kitchen.
That's what I was wondering what that foundation was there.
But you also notice it's right in the line of cannon fire from way up there.
Yeah.
So if there was a 2-story, which we believe it was, the slaves stayed up on the 2nd floor, and then meats were smoked down below.
And there's more damage. Look at that. That is a big one. Wasn't that an amazing house? That place was really cool, and that tour guide Paul, he knew so much. Okay, now that we have visited this house, we're going to get into this battle. During the Civil War, Missouri didn't succeed, but there were a lot of Southern sympathizers up here. The border between Kansas and Missouri, it was already a battlefield between abolitionists and pro-slavery settlers. This area up in the Northwest was especially pro-slavery. As a matter of fact, they called this area Little Dixie because of all the river plantations, and many owned slaves. So the Union felt that this area was very important, not only because it was on the Missouri River, but because it was full of all of these Southern sympathizers. And if they occupied this area, then perhaps they could control its citizens. General Sterling Price kind of thought the same thing. He had been on campaign down in southwestern Missouri and he was on a bit of a high. They had just won a big battle at Wilson's Creek in Springfield, Missouri, and now he set his sights up here on Little Dixie. His intentions were to gather recruits to fill his army so he could fulfill his major goal, which was to overthrow the Provisional Union Government of Missouri. Union Colonel James Mulligan and the 23rd Illinois Volunteer Infantry, known as the Irish Brigade, had been in Lexington since July, and they began digging earthwork fortifications around the Masonic College that they were using as headquarters. In total, there were about 3,500 Federal soldiers occupying Lexington. Price arrived on September 12th, and there was a very small engagement with the Federals at a cemetery outside of town that resulted in Union forces retreating. Price then took up a position on the Missouri River and then surrounded Union headquarters. For the next 5 days, those sides waited for reinforcements to arrive. On September 19th, Price's recruitments had shown up, swelling his army to over 15,000. Mulligan on the Union side was surrounded and he was still waiting for his reinforcements to show up. But more distressing, they were running dangerously low on water. Hemp production was very prominent around this area, and Anderson had had a warehouse where he was storing hemp bales. Price's men soaked the hemp bales overnight in the Missouri River, then placed them on either side of the Anderson house in rows. The troops slowly started to push those bales upwards towards the Union headquarters. They acted like armor. Bullets could not pierce the bales, and the hot-shot cannon fire fizzled out because the bales were wet with the Missouri River. And this is why the battle is also known as the Battle of Hemp Bales. The Union was outnumbered 4-1, and they did not have the firepower to hold back the Confederate forces. On September 20th, 1861, Mulligan surrendered to Sterling Price. After the Union surrendered, Price let Union troops go free, but he kept Colonel Mulligan prisoner for about a month before letting him go. In all, 30 Confederates were killed and 120 wounded. On the Union side, 36 were killed, 117 wounded, 8 missing, and over 3,000 captured. Okay, so this is the battlefield. There's a grave marker over here. Let's go check that out. Memory of Colonel James Adelbert Mulligan and the members of the command who fought and died during the battle and siege of Lexington, Missouri, September 12th through the 20th. Well, who's buried here? Oh, 5 unknown U.S. soldiers. Battle of Lexington, reburied November 11th, 1932. Oh, well, he said you could see the, what did he call those? Trenches, or you can clearly see them. Yeah, so right there's one right behind that cannon, and then there's another one right there. Another one that goes like this. Huh. Usually never a lot of stuff to see on an actual battlefield, so I'm pretty happy that we get to see these little lumps and bumps. Let's just walk over one so we can see. Interesting. You can see right over there is that Anderson house. So I can get closer. We've gone from the Anderson house to the battlefield, and now we are at the Masonic College, which was the Union headquarters. And it's not here anymore, but the structure in front of us is a 1/3 size replica, and each of those 4 brick columns shows where each of the 4 corners of the original structure were. How cool is that? There's not many images, but the college was originally a 2-story brick building, 57 feet wide by 80 feet deep with a stone basement. It was built in the Greek Revival style with 4 fluted Ionic columns. There was a chapel also in the basement. It operated from 1847 until 1925, and the building burned in a fire on August 20th, 1932.
All right. Well, let's just go in here and check this out and see what this is. This is kind of cool. It's a picnic area, little shelter. Huh. Interesting. Oh, look, here's something else. Under Colonel Mulligan's tent near this spot on September 7th, 1861, were buried 10 boxes containing $960,159.60 taken by Colonel Marshall from the Farmers Bank of Missouri and restored to the bank by General Sterling Price after the surrender of Colonel James Mulligan on September 20th, 1861. All right, so we are in downtown Lexington. We are at the Courthouse Square, and there's a couple things to see here. It's kind of cool. This courthouse is kind of amazing. What a cute little town. We're on the Courthouse Square, and it's always really cool to see what's around the Courthouse Square other than attorney's office and bail bondsman's. Well, I love coming to old towns and their downtown to look at their architecture. Look at that building right there. Wow. Oh, I guess look at all those buildings right there. But the green one is so ornate, and then the stone one next to it. And look, that box up there, it's a burglar alarm. See that? A burglar alarm. Okay, there's the courthouse. Oh, and look what we found. It's the Statue of Liberty. We'll walk up here on this grass so I can read this sign. Okay, so the Boy Scouts of America dedicated this copy of the Statue of Liberty as a pledge of everlasting fidelity and loyalty. And is there a date? 1951. This is what I came to see. Is that cannonball that is still up there in that column. I love it. That's great. I read somewhere it was an accident. So this courthouse was built in 1847, and it was the county's 3rd courthouse, and it is the oldest remaining courthouse in use in Missouri. And it remains unchanged except for modern lighting and heating and office equipment. You know, most of the courthouses that I see around in these small towns in Missouri and Kansas, they're all brick. None of them are white like this. This is the very first white courthouse that I've seen. Oh my goodness, it is super windy, but I thought I'd get the Missouri River here at Lexington. And this used to be a big thoroughfare, and there would have been lots and lots and lots of boats, steamboats going up and down here with cargo and passengers. And if we go that way, that is towards Independence, which would have been the stopping off point for the travelers on the California and the Oregon Trail. That's where they got off and started their journey on land. So this is the Madonna of the Trail statue, and this is one of 13 that are along the old national trails. And I believe 3 of them are on the Santa Fe Trail. And this is one of them, and the other one is in Council Grove, Kansas. And we have actually been there and seen that statue. And then I noticed right here a little sign for the Potawatomi Trail of Death. Another forced removal by Europeans of the Native American population, moving them west, forcing them, just like the Trail of Tears. That was the Cherokee. The Potawatomi, theirs is called the Trail of Death. And it ends in somewhere down in Kansas. Let's see, right here, this is on October 26, 1838, about 800 Potawatomi Indians being forcibly removed from Indiana camped on the riverbank opposite Lexington. They ferried the Missouri River on October 27th and were marched on to northeast Kansas. Yeah, so I didn't realize that this was here next to this statue. And there's Greg. He's my driver. He comes with me to keep me safe and keep me out of trouble. Well, that's it for our visit here to Lexington, Missouri. I hope that you guys enjoyed yourself and you learned something. I certainly did. And as always, I will see you guys next time. Bye.